this thing on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. It is Saturday night, which means we have 2 fun-filled hours of the paranormal. And hopefully I'll keep you wildly entertained throughout the duration of the show. But thank you so much for spending a part of your long, hard-earned weekends right here with me. That means the world. And a special thank you to those who have opted to become members of the show. We appreciate that a bunch. It's just something we thought we'd throw out there as an opportunity option for those of you that are interested. It's, it's just another thing, but it helps to keep the lights on here on the portal. So I appreciate it because, putting on a show actually is an expensive undertaking. So appreciate all the love and support that you guys have given, and in all the ways that you give, whether you're just here watching, which is huge. If you like the streams, if you take the time to leave a comment on streams that you're watching that are not live, all of those things go a long way. And those of you that are sharing the streams, that is huge as well. There's lots of ways to support the show, and certainly you guys have been amazing. So a special thank you to all of you. It's just you and me tonight. I'm manning the controls, and you guys are my co-hosts. So I hope that'll be a wonderful deal. And the phones will be open throughout the duration of the show. And hopefully any of you out there that have paranormal experiences want to call in and talk to me about those. That'd be awesome. So that's always a fun thing. It's one of my most favoritist things about doing the show is getting the chance to talk to you guys about what you've seen, what you've experienced. So by all means, call the number. It's pinned in the chat on YouTube. It is on the screen as well. But for those of you listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, it is the number to call in is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. So that's how you get in touch with me. Before I go any further, I just want to say a special thank you to, of course, Cryptid Coin. It's a beast of an investment, folks. One that we're really excited about. They have agreed to be a part of the Paranormal Portal and help us as well. And it's a phenomenal opportunity, in my opinion, because it's the first cryptocurrency out there to be branded after something that we're all passionate about, which is cryptids. Cryptid research and investigation is at the heart of Cryptid Coin. And if you're looking for a cryptocurrency opportunity, maybe this is one for you. I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but just really thrilled about having them on board as a part of what we're doing here on the portal. And if you want to learn more, go over to cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. It's available on PancakeSwap now, so it's even easier to get involved. So check it out. Special thanks to Cryptid Coin for making us a part of your journey. As always, let me just do something here quick, because I got to queue up the screens a little differently when I'm all alone here. And one of the things I got to do is actually use that screen. So I got to clear it. Got to clear it out. But I don't know about you all, but I hope you're all ready for a little bit of how we start every live show, and that is with some Paranormal Portal news. So without further ado, let's dive into the news. And buckle up, those of you listening on TFR and affiliates. It'll be a little longer of an intro, but this intro is put together by Wes Germer for those of you on YouTube, and it's just brilliant. Check it out. My God, that's just full of love. I love that intro. That's really cool. Special thanks again to Wes for that. Appreciated a bunch. And I've been curating some news articles for your viewing and listening pleasure. Hopefully I've done a good job at it. Special hello to all of you who are in here watching live, the live show. And if you're watching later, when it's not live, thank you for tuning in as well. So the first article up for bat tonight is kind of interesting. This one just kind of popped up in the news, and I don't know that there's anything being alluded to in this, but it is kind of interesting that there's still new things emerging, even from old incidents like the Roswell crash from 1947. Turns out that archivists have uncovered some interesting news, and that is, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, long-lost Roswell incident news report uncovered 75 years on. This was just from July 2nd, 2022, so it's a brand new thing, and I read it a little bit about it, and I got another article that goes into this a little more in depth that we may cover yet tonight, but let's check it out. It says, an issue of the long-defunct Roswell newspaper covering the UFO crash has recently resurfaced. While most of us with an interest in the Roswell incident will be familiar with the Roswell Daily Record's coverage of the events, which took place in New Mexico in 1947, another newspaper from the time, the Roswell Morning Dispatch, also had published its own take on the events. The paper, which was discontinued in 1950, published a headline on the morning of July 9th, 1947, which read, "Army debunks Roswell flying disc as world simmers with excitement." It also went on to repeat the official cover-up narrative with the subheading, "Officers say disc is a weather balloon." That's still funny. Even after all this time, that's still a ridiculous claim. If it was a weather balloon, why did it look like a disc? Weather balloons generally don't look like discs, unless I'm totally being an idiot, which is possible. But I've seen weather balloons, and they look like balloons. But anyway, let's continue. Along with a piece about Sheriff George Wilcox fielding calls from the media, Nick Pope, who once headed the British Ministry of Defense UFO desk, found the piece particularly interesting. "It's a fascinating piece of history that time had forgotten," he said. "It just shows that 75 years after the Roswell incident, there are still discoveries to be made in the archives. Any historian will tell you that going back to the original sources is priceless when it comes to getting an insight into what happened and how those people involved were reacting and perceiving things, and what the feeling was in the local community. This is just an amazing glimpse into Roswell in 1947, which was ground zero for this mystery and still endures to this day." Yeah, I don't think it was a weather balloon. If you want a little more insight on the Roswell incident and everything that happened there, I can very passionately recommend checking out the work by a gentleman by the name of Donald Raymond Schmidt. He has been a guest on the portal a couple times. Just a phenomenally brilliant guy. He was actively investigating this years on after it happened, but he worked for J. Allen Hynek with his organization, and went down to investigate it as a skeptic. He was a skeptic, but he just decided, I'll let the investigation go wherever it goes, and we'll just keep following it. And he left there a believer that something really extraordinary had happened there, and was being actively covered up. And it's a fascinating series of shows that we had with Donald Raymond Schmidt. So check it out if you get a chance. It's in our archives. It's on the UFO playlist. So it's well worth the time. It's just one of those guests that he makes your head reel. He just has so many interesting things to say and so many interesting takes on the events that unfolded in Roswell. So definitely look into it. But yeah, I mean, the cover-up was very real. It was very active, and it was very aggressively covered up. And unfortunately, we're still dealing with that kind of stuff to this day. But anyway, there it is, a long-lost article kind of resurfaced, which reiterates the narrative that, of course, has become famous in UFO lore anyway. So let's move on to the next one, folks. On to the next. And the next is from unexplained-mysteries.com. The next article up to bat is from July 2nd as well. I do have some archives that we dug up for tonight's show as well, but this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Tomb linked to King Arthur is set to be excavated. So apparently there's been a discovery of a tomb in the UK that is linked potentially to the life and times of King Arthur. So it says archaeologists are preparing to explore what lies inside a 5,000-year-old tomb known as Arthur's Stone. Situated in rural Herefordshire, I don't know, I'm probably brutalizing that, but anyway, that's as close as I'm going to get. Herefordshire, this ancient stone structure consists of 9 upright stones which support a larger capstone believed to weigh upwards of 25 tons. Wow. Underneath is thought to be some sort of burial chamber. However, to date, no evidence or remains have ever been discovered at the site, raising questions about who or what was once interred inside. Now, though, archaeologists from the University of Manchester are getting ready to excavate the site in an effort to determine once and for all exactly what lies beneath the stone. King Arthur's Stone is one of the country's most significant Stone Age monuments, said Ginny Slade of English Heritage. This gives a rare and exciting chance for the public to see archaeology in action. Yeah, it's not like Raiders of the Lost Ark, though. Just to prep you for any disappointment. There's going to be no boulders rolling down on the archaeologists or any crazy people shooting guns, generally speaking. So the stone is said to bear the remains of King Arthur's fight with a dragon and also served as the inspiration behind the stone table in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Arthur himself remains steeped in mystery, and with most historians agreeing that he was most likely a mythological figure. Even so, the stories of his exploits have inspired countless tales of kings, dragons, and wizards, including numerous modern-day TV book and movie adaptations, and it will be very intense to see what, if anything, lies beneath the stone which bears his name. So there you go. They're going to dig it up, find out what's underneath there. I'm betting it's probably going to be a whole lot of disappointment, but you never know. Maybe there will be some incredible artifacts found under there that'll illuminate the time of Arthur even more. But who can say? I surely can't. That's that article. And now up next, folks, we have another article in the news, and this also comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please check out their site, ladies and gentlemen. It's a phenomenal site. I just love what they do over there. They take all these amazing different subjects and really encapsulate them in these great bite-sized articles. So it's great for the enthusiast on the go. But check it out. It's really wonderful. Support what they're doing. Help them out. So this is the James Webb Space Telescope was hit by a tiny micrometeoroid. Now that probably doesn't sound like much, but in space a micrometeoroid is traveling faster than a bullet, and it can really be a dangerous, horrible thing. I guess that's the liability of putting things up into space without force fields or anything, is that they're going to get hit by stuff. But let's see what it says. The Next Generation Telescope has been hit by a tiny space rock, but there's no need to be too concerned about it. It's fair to say that prior to the launch of the James Webb Space Telescope, which had taken several decades and billions of dollars to design and build, there was a sizable amount of anxiety and trepidation among those who had spent the better part of their lives working on it. Those fears soon began to melt away, however, as the telescope soared into the heavens just in time for Christmas last year, and while it has since successfully reached its destination, it is not difficult to remain concerned about its potential fragility over the long term. Such concerns were brought into sharp focus this week when NASA revealed that one of the telescope's mirrors had been struck by a dust-sized micrometeoroid. Dust-sized. Wow. And they still do damage. That's crazy. While this might not sound like anything significant, however, even a tiny speck of dust can cause damage if it is traveling at high enough speeds. According to reports, the micrometeoroid did produce a noticeable effect on the telescope's data. However, its engineers designed the mirrors to be able to withstand such impacts. We always knew that Webb would have to weather the space environment, which includes harsh ultraviolet light and charged particles from the sun, cosmic rays from exotic sources in the galaxy, and occasional strikes by micrometeoroids within our solar system, said NASA's Paul Geithner. We designed and built the Webb with performance margin, optical, thermal, electrical, mechanical, to ensure it can perform its ambitious science mission even after many years in space. In other words, everything should be fine, at least for now. So there you go, in case you were worried about all that billions of dollars and years of time going to waste. Nope, they were prepared for it. That's awesome. Good deal. Well, let's move on to the next one. Should be seeing pictures from that pretty soon, I would think. They got to be coming up any time now. All right, the next up is from, what do you think? Unexplained-mysteries.com, of course. And this one I think is coming from the archives. It is indeed, and this is about the most horrible nightmare scenario you can imagine. I don't know. Some people like thrill seeking. They like doing things like bungee jumping and jumping out of planes and stuff with parachutes, and God bless them. I think it's cool, but I just know that, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people who be diving out of planes and stuff, but because of the following story. And this is nothing short of amazing. This is skydiver survives fall after parachute fails. Now, this is from September of 2012, but still, that's still amazing even today. A skydiver miraculously survived his parachute after his failed parachute. Good God. And that's all, folks. A skydiver miraculously survived after his parachute failed to open after a 13,000-foot fall. Oh, my God. That's horrible. 35-year-old Liam Dunn had jumped from a plane and deployed his main parachute over a festival in New Zealand when he found himself in an unrecoverable spin. Ditching his main chute and reaching for the reserve, he realized to his horror that he was unable to find the handle. The chute did finally open, but by then he was so close to the ground that it didn't really matter. Fortunately, he landed on some extremely soft and boggy ground, but still managed to shatter his spine. Skydiving is an awesome sport, and I've done 4,000 jumps, and I've never had a problem, he said. As my reserve chute was coming out, I realized I was too late. So I just braced for the impact, and luckily I hit the softest patch of ground in the whole airfield. I bounced hard, and my whole left side went numb. Fortunately, doctors believe that despite his injuries, Liam should be able to walk again. Wow. That's incredible. I mean, that is just incredible. 13,000 feet. People die falling off a 6-foot ladder, for God's sakes. This guy fell 13,000 feet, bounced, and sounds like he's going to still be able to walk. That's crazy. That's outstanding. Good for him. I'm glad it all worked out okay, but that is just freaky. Wow. All right, let's get to the next one, and this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Okay, got 7 minutes left. We're doing good. All right, here's another one from the archives, the way back archives on unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is, I don't know, this is not what you'd expect to see in a headline, but I'll just leave it there and we'll go to the article. It says, firemen rescue cow stuck in a tree from August of 2012. It says firefighters spent over 4 hours engaged in a particularly unusual rescue operation. The cow, a calf called Sparkle, had managed to get itself into the awkward predicament after falling 100 feet down a steep embankment in Cumbria. The tree that it ended up stuck in actually broke its fall, saving it from potentially worse fate. Vets and firemen wearing body armor spent 4 hours freeing the distressed bovine. They had to wear body armor in case a stray hoof lashed out at them, said a fire department spokesman. The vet checked the cow over, and it seemed reasonably happy and relatively unscathed. There you go. I guess the theme tonight is falling, huh? So just hope the dice are in your favor if you end up falling. That's crazy. But it lived. It lived. There you go. Happy ending. We love happy endings here on the portal. All right, let's go to the next article up on the roster tonight. And this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is from August of 2012 again. And this is one for David Politis. For his missing 411, I wonder what... All right, I'll just bring it up. I won't try to improv it anymore. Unexplained-Mysteries reports missing woman joins the search for herself. August 30th, 2012. A woman holidaying in Iceland was unaware that a search party she had joined was looking for her. The unnamed woman had been on a bus trip in Edja region when a tourist was reported missing. Prompting the other passengers to form a search party, wanting to do her part, the woman decided to join them, hunting around the surrounding area for any sign of the missing person. It wasn't until later that she realized that the individual the group had been trying to find was actually her. At the last stop, she had changed her clothes, presumably confusing the others enough to believe that she had disappeared. Wow. There you go. She joined her own search party and couldn't find it. They still were unsuccessful. Wow, that is just really, wow. I'm just going to move on from there. That's about as ridiculous as you can imagine. Next up, of course, on unexplained-mysteries.com is the next article, which is Unexplained-Mysteries reports from August of 2012. Ooh, man survives metal rod through his head. Oof. A construction worker found himself with a 6-foot metal bar piercing all the way through his skull. 24-year-old Eduardo Leitz had been working on a building site in Brazil when the bar fell from 5 stories above and landed on him, piercing both his hard hat and his skull and protruding out between his eyes. Incredibly, he remained calm and conscious. As he was taken away in an ambulance, surgeons later took 5 hours to extract the bar from his head. They told me he was laying down in the ambulance with the bar pointing upward, his wife said. He was holding it and his face covered in blood. His look was as if nothing had happened. When he arrived, he told the doctors he wasn't feeling anything. No pain, nothing. It's unbelievable. So you got to wonder, was that a hollow pole kind of deal, or was it a solid rod? And did it just travel at such a rate that it just kind of pushed things aside as it went in? I mean, my God, that's incredible. Did it just split the hemispheres? I mean, was it that lucky? Because it said it came out between his eyes. So, the left and right hemispheres of the brain, with only that one little section joining the two, I think that's incredible. Wow. And he didn't even have any pain. What? Okay. Well, the truth is stranger than fiction, folks. The truth is stranger than fiction. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next one is from, you guessed it, the last one, actually. Let me look at the time here. Yeah, I think I should be able to do this. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is, company produces cards from elephant dung. When you just don't care to send the very best, this might be your hallmark. A company in India is enjoying success with its own unique take on the traditional greeting cards. How do you say this? Ejender Shekhawat's elephant stamp business produces greeting cards created from undigested grass and leaf fibers found in elephant droppings. Plans are going forward to process up to 30 tons of elephant dung every month in order to extract the necessary materials needed to produce the paper for the cards. The business is picking up and we're expanding. He says, people always worry about the smell, but believe me, the cards smell as sweet as any other Valentine's Day cards on the market. Oh, honey, I love you so much. I got you this elephant poop card. Oh, dear God. Yep, you can't make this stuff up, folks. This has been an incredibly bizarre production of the Paranormal Portal News. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let's get back to the regular part of our show, because I got no more of this for you. So, here we go. Oops. That's an awful lot of cheering just for me and for all of you as well. We're going to be heading to our first break of the night here in just a minute. For those of you on YouTube, pay special attention. I've got a special video coming up for you in just a moment. Don't go away. For the rest of you, we'll be right back after these messages.
No, I never saw like orbs, but I did see the lights over Phoenix. That was another thing with my dad. I might have been 15, 16. We're driving back from Tucson on the 10 up to Phoenix, and I'm like, Dad, what are those lights up there? He's like, I don't know. Let's turn off and go in the middle of the desert and take a look at them. So we drove over to South Mountain area, and we were looking up. Everybody's like, oh, they were flares, they were this. But that shit, whatever that was, that ship, it flew right over us, and it was like a mile long.
This weekend marks the 25th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights, a formation of lights spotted in the night sky by thousands of people here in Arizona and then throughout the Southwest. Now, some have tried to explain that phenomenon, saying that it was caused by military flares, but others say the answer is still unknown, but is out there, waiting to be found.
Well, for the most part, we look to the sky and we know it's a bird, it's a plane, but this one has never fully been explained.
I know, the mystery continues. Today marks the 21st anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. That has UFO buffs convinced that we saw something from out of this world.
So to me, it looked like the B-1, I think it's the B-1 bomber, the one that looks like the boomerang. It looked like that, but a mile long. And then the lights were on the front of the ship. And then when it flew over us, it blocked out, because we were out by South Mountain, and we could see all the stars. And when it flew over, you couldn't see stars for 30 seconds as it flew over. And it had to have been like 500 yards wide and then a mile long.
Yes, right there in the Starfleet uniform.
Absolutely epic. All right, we got a few seconds left before we got to rejoin the network, but I tell you what, folks, the reason I wanted you to pay attention to that was not only to appreciate all the artisan and creativity that went into making it, and also the incredible topic of a show that you shouldn't want to miss, but also because Wes has decided that we're going to give an opportunity for someone to compete for a beanie. Sasquatch Chronicles hat. But you got to call in, and we're going to ask you a series of questions. And, if you're successful, then you could get your own Sasquatch Chronicles beanie hats. So I don't know about you, but I already know the answer, so I can't compete. But, doggone it, I could use a beanie. This one's got some miles on it. Miles are on this one, I'm telling you. But so if you want to call in, if you paid attention to that video, call in, and I'll be watching the phone lines, and we're going to ask you some questions. If you correctly answer those questions, by God, you could get a Sasquatch Chronicles hat. So that's what's coming up. Oh, I got to reconnect to the network. Hold your horses, folks. Let's get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We had a Interesting thing going on over the YouTube. During the break, we played a promo video from Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles, and he's now offering somebody the chance to win a Sasquatch Chronicles beanie. So I see I have a call on the phone here. Let's get to this and find out if somebody's going to be a winner. This is area code 904. 904. Are you there?
Yeah, Florida here. Or as I call it, Florida.
Hi. It's kind of hard to hear you. It's a little muffled. Are you hearing me okay?
Is this better?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, good. We have sunshine laws. That's why everyone knows we're crazy.
Well, that might do it. At least you're getting your vitamin D, which is always important. So, did you...
Oh, my God. I got skin cancer already.
Oh, no.
I'm only 58.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. That took all the joy out of that joke of mine. But...
Are you kidding? It's skin like leather.
Oh, I'll bet. So did you pay attention to the break, and do you watch that promo?
Oh, yes, I am ready to compete.
All right, so...
What's my first question?
All right, the first question, and these questions were put together by Wes himself. What is the image from the beginning of the video? What is that video depiction from? At the very beginning.
I don't know. I didn't see it at all. I sound like Tim Dillon now, don't I?
I don't know who that is, but maybe. You didn't see it at all. Okay, so did you see any...
Well, it was really small, and it was on my phone, and
sure.
My eyes are kind of bad.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be tough. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry, sir, but, that's strike one out of one. But thank you for trying.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
That's a battery of Russian missiles heading my way. I got a duck. I'll see you later.
All right. Take care of yourself, sir.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks. All right. But we do have another call here and see what's going on here. And this is, I think, area code 417. Are you there?
Yep.
All right. Ruger, how you doing, brother?
I watched that video earlier today.
Okay. All right.
And I ran outside when you showed it.
Oh, did you?
So memory don't fail me now.
See, now that's going to be... Okay, so repeating the first question that we asked already, I'm going to repeat it now. So the first question is...
Okay.
Let me find it here. Okay, so what is the image from at the beginning of the video? The very first part of the video where there's something depicted on the screen showing some circles and stuff. Do you recognize where that's from?
No.
Okay.
Is that it? I just get one question?
Well, you got to get through a series of 3 questions, actually, and so it kind of stops at the
Okay,
one.
well, ask me the last 2 first. Then.
Why, you think it's going to come back to you? I'm sorry. No winner. Thank you for calling in, though, brother.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Man. See me later.
All right. Take care, brother. All right. We tried, folks. There were 2 contestants trying, and the phone lines are wide open now, so obviously no one else wants to take a stab at it. But, oh, wait. We got a call. Got a call here. And let's see what's going on here. This is area code 626. You're on the air.
Hi, Brent. It's Ruthie.
Hi, Ruthie. How are you?
I'm good. I wanna compete.
All right. Well, by God, we're gonna let you. So,
okay.
You did watch the promo at the break, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
So again, repeating the first question, what is the image from at the beginning of the video?
The Phoenix Lights.
Oh no! At the very beginning. At the very beginning, there's a red screen. You're right about the Phoenix Lights. That is depicted in the video.
Oh, shoot.
But
I did see it, but my mind went blank.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh no. Oh shoot! I lost already.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
That's
sorry.
Okay.
But you did take a shot at it, and I respect that a bunch. So thank you for playing, Ruthie.
Okay, hon. Good night.
All right, good night. All right, well, that's 3 for 3. Unfortunately, we don't have a winner, so we'll just try again next week, I guess, or next show or something. But thank you guys for trying. I really appreciate that. That was fun. And the purse is still out there. We'll revisit this idea again in a future show. So stand by for more. Okay, now I've got a bunch of other paranormal stuff for your consumption. I don't know if that's right, but remember, folks, the lines are open now as well if you want to call in and have something paranormal of your own to share. Love to hear about it. Love to talk to you about it. By all means, feel free to call in. The number again for those of you listening on TFR and iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers for fun right here on the portal. I'll be watching for it. I'm watching. Okay. All right. So we're going to visit an article from a site called the Occult Museum. And this is a pretty interesting article because it's kind of a snapshot of a bunch of supernatural unsolved mysteries that cannot be rationally explained. And there's 9 of them. And some of them you'll be familiar with. They're pretty well known and pretty well traveled in the paranormal circles. But some of them you might not. So let's check it out and get to the program. All right. Should be on your screen now for those of you watching, but otherwise it's coming from occultmuseum.com, and it's just by the Occult Museum. So there's no individual author to credit with this, but I don't even see a date when it was posted. So I don't know when it was posted, but it's pretty excellent. So 9 supernatural unsolved mysteries that cannot be rationally explained. The first one is, let's see, what is the first one? It's the Dyatlov Pass incident. I don't know, what is this? The unfathomable deaths of 9 Russian mountaineers whose cross-country skiing trip ended up in a tragedy so horrifying and perplexing that it has mystified experts and indeed the world ever since. It says on January 25th, 1959, 9 Russian students embarked on a journey across the Otorten mountain range. Otorten. Okay, I don't remember ever seeing that name before. Which is nestled in the northern Urals for a strenuous cross-country skiing trip. 8 days after they were due to arrive at their end destination, a search party set out to find the missing mountaineers. On February 26th, the search party came upon the flapping remains of a tent pitched on ski poles on an uppermost slope of Kyolat Siakal, or Mountain of the Dead, in the native language of northern Siberia. The tent had been ripped apart, torn to shreds from the inside, suggesting they had fled in panic. Footprints found around the outside of the tent indicated that those who fled into sub-zero temperatures did so in just their socks or barefoot, and in one case a single shoe. 2 sets of prints led down the slope towards a densely forested area, which would lead the searchers to the first bodies. Besides the remains of a long burnt-out fire beneath the looming ancient pine tree was the frozen bodies of 2 hikers. The searchers noted with bewilderment that both men were naked and shoeless, save for their underwear, and they also noted that the branches of the pine tree had been snapped off to a height of almost 15 feet, indicating that the pair had frantically attempted to climb the tree for safety. Or they had tried to find stuff to light a fire, maybe. I'm just thinking out loud here. Around 350 yards away lay the body of 23-year-old engineering student Igor Dyatlov. His name would later be given to the area where the tragedy took place. Nearby, the remains of 3 more bodies were discovered under 4 inches of snow. The bodies were found in a line, up about 200 yards apart, suggesting they had been trying to crawl behind each other's back up to the shelter of the tent. That is so horrible. 2 months after the initial search, the remaining bodies of the group were found buried beneath under 15 feet of snow in a den that they had desperately hollowed out for themselves before succumbing to the cold. Some had broken bones and terrible internal injuries, but strangely no external wounds. Not even a scratch could be found upon their skin. Stranger still, odd bits of their clothing contained higher than normal levels of radiation. The post-mortem examinations of the 9 bodies also threw up a string of bewildering anomalies that could cause the 9 experienced mountaineers to flee in terror into sub-zero temperatures. Why were some fully clothed but others nearly naked? Most disconcerting of all was the body of Ludmila Dubinina, which was missing its tongue and eyes. Well, there are various theories concerning what happened in those dark and dreadful hours on the Mountain of the Dead. Possible explanations as an avalanche of the Russian military and secret experimental weapons testing have been blamed. Even Yetis and alien abduction, the latter being the belief of Soviet investigators at the time, are also popular theories. However, the simple fact is no theory holds up to scrutiny, and so endures the legend of Dyatlov Pass, one of the greatest unexplained mysteries of our time. That is a heartbreaker. I don't know what happened, but it's so much bizarre in that. And apparently the tent was cut, but it was cut from the inside. Like they cut it out to get out. So I have no idea what could have happened that they just completely freaked and lost their minds. But what a horrendous experience. So the next up is number 2, Bella in the Wyke Elm or Witch Elm. I don't know how you say that for sure. Who put Bella down the Witch Elm? Hagley Wood. Okay. I don't know what that means. On April 18th, 1943, 4 boys were poaching in Hagley Wood, England, and came upon a wych elm tree. Thinking it would serve as a good place to hunt for birds, 15-year-old Bob Farmer climbed up to check, but instead uncovered a grisly mystery. Inside the hollow opening of the tree trunk, wedged tightly inside, was a woman's skeleton, entirely complete, except for one missing hand. Terrified, the boys swore a pact of silence and fled, but the youngest was so traumatized that he told his father. The police were dispatched to investigate, and the body was found exactly as it had been described. Hair flung off the remaining flesh of the skull, and 2 crooked teeth gaped out of the mouth. The woman's severed hand and items of clothing were later found buried near the tree. This gave rise to wild speculation that she had suffered a black magic execution, and that a witch's coven and Satanists were operating in the local area. After police analysis, the bones were determined to belong to a woman aged 35 to 40 who had been placed, while still warm, into the tree's hollow, where she had remained hidden for at least 18 months. How tragic. According to the already baffling mystery, the locals named the unidentified woman Bella after graffiti began appearing across the region. Who put Bella down the wych elm? No one came forward with information, and Bella's true identity and her death remain unsolved. Wow. That's freaky. That is really freaky. All right. Number 3, the Pollock twins. 3 children die on the way to church. Aww. All right, let's read the article. It says, in 1957, 2 sisters, Joanna, 11, Jacqueline Pollock, 6, and their friend Anthony were tragically killed in a car accident as they walked to their local church in Northumberland, England. Their parents were left grief-stricken. John and Florence hoped and prayed their daughters would come back, and it seems their prayers were answered. 1 year later, twin girls Jennifer and Jillian were born. The Pollocks were surprised to find that Jennifer, the younger twin, had birthmarks on her body and face in exactly the same place as Jacqueline had. With that began a series of uncanny similarities between the twins and their dead sisters. At the age of 2, the twins started to ask for toys, which had once been owned by Jacqueline and Joanna. The girls, their parents claimed, had never seen or heard about the toys before. At 4, they began to recognize places they had never seen or been to before. One time they pointed to a school they claimed to be their school, and that they remembered playing in the playground behind it. The school was the one Jacqueline and Joanna had attended. A well-respected psychologist at the time, Dr. Ian Stevenson, studied the case and concluded that the twins were indeed the sisters reincarnated. Wow, to get an actual admission? from a doctor. I don't know if that was the end of his career or not, but my God, that's powerful. Then, just as suddenly as it started, when the girls turned 5 years old, their memories vanished, and they both went on to live happy, ordinary lives. And that's real common with people having past life memories, is that, generally speaking, they only remember these things for the very early formative years. And after a while, it's like the new life takes over, or whatever's going on. It's hard to say, but it's like a lot of these people that have very clear memories of a past life don't retain them past their early childhood. About 5, 6 years old, it all just starts to become real hazy and forgotten. And I guess that's probably good because, can't live in the past, right? I mean, it's kind of a dumb thing to say, but I mean, really, they do have a life to live, so it only makes sense. But that is pretty powerful, and what an incredible thing that maybe that is true, that those children that were stolen from the parents by a horrible, tragic accident could be brought back and once again be a part of that family. I think that's really beautiful. I hope that that's indeed what happened, but that's incredible. Very cool. Then we're going to go to the Dutch SS Orang Medan. And according to a widely circulated reports, let me check the time here. Okay, we got 9 minutes. We're fine. It says, according to widely circulated reports, in June of 1947, multiple ships sailing the trade routes of the Straits of Malacca, which is located between Sumatra and Malaysia, claimed to have picked up the series of SOS distress signals. The unidentified ship's message was as simple as it was terrifying. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. This was followed by a burst of indecipherable Morse code, and then a final message, I die. This cryptic proclamation was trailed by an eerie silence. The distress call was picked up by 2 American ships as well as a British and Dutch listening posts who managed to triangulate the source of the broadcast and deduced that they emanating from a Dutch freighter known as the SS Orang Medan. The American merchant ship Silver Star was the first to arrive on the scene. Boarding the ship, the recuse party discovered a horrifying sight awaited them. The decks of the vessel were littered with the corpses of the Dutch crew. All of the bodies lay with their eyes wide open, with the terrified expressions on their faces and arms stretching out in front of them, as if to shield themselves from something monstrous. As the Silver Star tried to tow the ghost ship back to port, the crew noticed ominous billows of smoke pouring up from the lower decks. The boarding party scarcely had a chance to cut the tow line and make it back to the Silver Star before the Orang Medan exploded. The doomed ship slowly sank beneath the ocean waves, leaving in its wake the most chilling of maritime mysteries. Yow, that's horrible. What could they have seen that would have frozen them in that state of absolute terror before succumbing? I mean, that doesn't sound like they were brutalized. It sounds like they died of fright. Wow, that's absolutely maddening. Wow. And speaking of wow, number 5 is the wow signal. And this is really pretty popular. It's been around for a long time, this weird wow signal. But it says 2 Cornell physicists, Philip Morrison and Giuseppe Caccioni, famously tried to imagine how an intelligent alien civilization might try to signal Earth. We should look, they said, for a radio transmission. 18 years later, their prediction came true. Jerry Amen was a volunteer researcher for Ohio State University's now defunct Big Ear Radio Observatory for SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. He was tasked with scanning radio waves from deep space in hopes of finding a signal that bore hallmarks of being sent by an intelligent life form. On August 15, 1977, Amen saw his measurements spike. The signal lasted for 72 seconds. It was loud and appeared to have been transmitted from the constellation Sagittarius near a star called Tau Sagittarii, 120 light years away. Amen wrote the words "wow" on the original printout of the signal. And that's my cat. This is the title as the WOW signal. All attempts to locate the signal have failed, leading to much speculation and mystery about its origins. Yeah, was this the first detected signal from what might be an intelligent civilization? Maybe. I don't know. Pretty crazy. Number 6, Frederick Valentich. I don't know, Valentich. I don't know what this is saying, but let's see what's going on with him. We got 5 minutes. That should be enough to get through this. On October 21st, 1978, Frederick Valentich left Melbourne, Australia, to begin a 125-mile training flight to Kings Island. He was flying a single-engine Cessna. At just after 7:06 p.m., Valentich made a radio contact with air traffic controllers to inquire if there were any other aircraft known to be flying in the area. The answer for Melbourne was no, an answer that was confirmed again during the odd communication that followed. 7 minutes later, all radio contact was lost, and Valentich, was never heard from again. I do remember hearing about this. He was a young guy. During the puzzling exchange with air traffic control, Valentich claimed he saw something flying near him. When asked if he could confirm that it was an aircraft, he said that he could not, a statement that he repeated several times. He described the object as having at least 4 lights and 1 green light. He also said it was an elongated cigar-shaped craft, which was all shiny on the outside. Interestingly, there were numerous UFO and or strange light sightings in the Kings Island and Bass Strait area on that night that Frederick Valentich disappeared. The last words that the air traffic controllers officially heard Frederick Valentich speak were, "It's not an aircraft." Extensive searches for the pilot were conducted, but no sign of him or the Cessna was ever found. Yeah, there's been all kinds of speculation that somehow he ended up upside down and he was just seeing the lights of wherever he was flying to. All kinds of terrible speculation because it makes the guy sound like an absolute idiot. And by all accounts, he was a very intelligent and capable person and pilot. I mean, he was new, he was learning, but it's not like he wouldn't know he was upside down, for God's sakes. And they figure he just ended up thinking he was climbing, and he ended up ditching in the ocean instead. But I just don't buy it. I just, again, the need to gloss these things over for such a long time was absolutely detrimental to in so many ways, and including this guy's memory. This guy's memory, I mean, he probably saw a cigar-shaped craft. He probably got sucked into it or something else. God only knows. But, to make it sound like, well, he was just didn't know what he was doing and ended up flying upside down and ditching in the ocean, that's an insult. And I don't think that that's fair. Let's wait on this next one, The Man Who Vanished into Thin Air, until we get back from the break, because we are moving into break territory in a hurry, folks. It's coming fast. But before we hit the break, I just want to take a couple minutes and talk to you about September, because that's when we are going to Phenomecon. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I talk about this a lot, but I think it's really an exciting event. I'm really excited that we're going to be there, and this is from September 8th through the 11th in Vernal, Utah. And this is going to be a really incredible event. There's lots of things going on, lots of incredible speakers, as you can see on my screen now that I put it up so you can see. But this is Phenomecon, September 8th through the 11th, 2022, Vernal, Utah. And there's the host of speakers from Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Everybody into Sasquatch knows the name Jeff Meldrum. April Slaughter's a paranormal investigator. Russ Accord, Ronnie LeBlanc, Maria Mayer, and where is he? Bryce Johnson. I think Bryce is from Investigation Bigfoot. Expedition Bigfoot, rather, sorry. And then there's the Skinwalker Ranch show, has several people attending as well. James Vera, who's done the giants research, looking for remains of giants that might be being covered up, and so many more. So, and Adam Davies is an incredible cryptozoologist and has traveled the world, including an expedition in the Congo, which is just incredible. as well as many, many more. So there's a lot of great things going on. If you look at the bottom of the page, you can see all of the events that are going on scheduled, and some really cool after-hours stuff too, including this is very close to Skinwalker Ranch itself, so it sounds like it's going to be absolutely epic. So I hope you guys make it. If you do, Donald and I will be there. But head over to Phenomecon.net for more information. So again, Phenomecon.net is the website. And we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. More of the Paranormal Portal coming up in just a minute.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. Finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking gas. Taking off the slice of my sanity. Just make sure that you're well fed.
They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're into hour number 2 here on the Paranormal Portal, and as always, just trying to pull you through the portal safely. It's always a challenge, but I think we'll make it. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for those of you who are here. It's always a pleasure to do these shows, and even more of a pleasure to see people keep coming back. That's awesome. So, hope you guys are having a great night. If any of you have TikTok, I just want to put that out here. I don't know. I'm going to try TikToking. I did one. Usually I've done a few, and it was just like Don and I sitting here before a show, doing out a couple TikToks, just for the hell of it. But I decided to do one about, why am I haunted, and talk about the reasons that hauntings might happen. And just, it's not comprehensive by any means, but I mentioned a few of the reasons that you can end up with a ghostly visitor. And it's doing really pretty good. I only have like 30 some followers on TikTok, but for some reason it's got over, overnight it's at like 1,300 views or 1,300 plus. So I'm like, wow, maybe I should do more of this. So if you have TikTok, find me there. I don't know, just trying to spread my wings a little more and spread the word about the portal a little more as well. So thank you to those of you that are here that might have checked it out. But yeah, TikTok, who would have thunk it? Never too old to start new things, I guess. So we are going through an article currently that is from Occult Museum, and it has to do with strange, creepiest supernatural unsolved mysteries that have never been explained. And again, this is the occultmuseum.com, and we're on number 7. It's a list of 9, so it shouldn't take much longer. Then we got some other stuff to dive into as well, but let's get through this list. I've never heard of this next one, I don't think, but again, we'll take a look at it and see what you guys think. I don't claim that. The one thing about this show is I'll never claim to have any answers. I really don't know usually what the hell's going on with this stuff, but I have a lot of ideas. And I guess that's what the show is it's discussion about possibilities. And, trying to come to understand some of this, because I've had a number of paranormal experiences myself of different types, UFO, cryptid, and plenty of ghostly experiences. So I know this stuff happens. I just don't know what it all means, and that's the curiosity. But I suspect, as I've always said, that maybe some of it's just to show us that, look, we got a lot to learn. There's a lot going on in our reality that we just don't understand. So while it often freaks us out and leaves us in a terrible state, maybe it's for the good of us that these things happen, because they make us go, wait, how is that possible? That wasn't supposed to be possible. According to what I learned, this shouldn't be happening, but it does. So I think maybe there's a higher purpose to it all. But you be the judge. All right, so let's get to this article and get to this one. This is The Man Who Vanished in Thin Air. The Man Who Vanished into Thin Air. Why is that chopped off so funny? I didn't realize that. Hold on, let me see if I can resize this a little bit. Try to resize it a little bigger. There we go. The Man Who Vanished into Thin Air. There, that should work. That should be better. Sorry about that. I was reading it always with the terrible cropping on it. Okay. The Man Who Vanished into Thin Air. Author and war hero Ambrose Bierce was probably more famous for his disappearance than his writing. In 1913, Bierce wrote to friends that he was traveling to Mexico with a pretty definite purpose, which is not at present disclosable, then vanished off the face of the earth. The logical explanation is that he ran afoul of soldiers in the Mexican Revolution. However, prior to his trip, Bierce had been researching strange and bizarre disappearances. One such case was that of Charles Ashmore. Hi, Pikachu. Hi. He's a very vocal cat. Comes in just making noise and then walks out like meow, meow, meow. And then he goes. I guess that's him stopping by and saying hi. So Charles Ashmore was who he was investigating. The story goes that in 1878, Ashmore left his family farmhouse near Quincy, Illinois, to go fetch fresh water from the spring a short distance away. When he did not return, his family went in search of the boy. A new snow had just fallen, and Charles' footprints were plainly visible as they went out the back door and started across the yard. His father followed his trail for a short distance, but after going about 75 yards, he saw that the trail abruptly ended. Beyond the last footprint was nothing other than smooth, unbroken snow. The boy's tracks simply came to an end and vanished without a trace. Oh, that's got to be a horrible thing. Horrible, horrible thing. Bierce theorized that people could fall into dimensional holes and be trapped forever. Suspended between life and death, is this what happened to Bierce? Did he prophesize his own fate? Nobody knows, and to this day, his disappearance remains a puzzling mystery. So he was investigating disappearances and ended up disappearing. Wow, how's that for irony? I don't know if that is irony. I'm like Alanis Morissette. I'm not really sure what it means. So, all right, number 8. San Francisco. This one's pretty dark. I do apologize. I don't like to go down the dark roads too often, but this is in this list, so we'll cover it. San Francisco satanic beheading. Ugh. On February 8th, 1981, transient Leroy Carter Jr. was sleeping rough in the Golden Gate Park, San Francisco, when he was brutally attacked. After police arrived at the grisly scene the next day, they noted that Carter's head had been removed and that it was missing. One of the only clues left behind at the scene was the headless chicken, part of which had been stuffed into Carter's body at the neck. Oh, that's horrible. Quickly realizing that this gruesome case needed a specialist, the San Francisco Police Department brought in an officer, Sandy Gallant, who specialized in the occult and satanic murders. And according to Gallant, the murder was likely to be part of a dark ritual involving the Payo Mayombe, a black magic offshoot of the religion Santeria. Gallant believed that whoever had committed the crime did so to make a ritual brew from Carter's brains and perhaps the ears and the nose. She also predicted that the head would be returned to the crime scene after 42 days to complete the ritual. True enough, right on schedule, the head was returned 42 days later. However, despite having been called in, the occult detective was not taken seriously, and no one was watching the crime scene to make the arrest. The murderer escaped justice, and the case remains unsolved. Yeah, let's call in an expert and not pay any attention to what they say. That sounds like perfect police work. No offense to police. I have a lot of respect for law enforcement, but that's not a good move. Why call in a pro if you're not going to pay attention to what they're saying? All right, number 9. I think this is the last one. The baffling case of little Pauline Picard. Oh, sorry, I got something in my eye here. Hold on, let me rub my eye sec. A sec. All right, I think I'm okay. Little Pauline Picard, age 2, disappeared from her family's farm in Brittany, France on April 1922. Son of a gun. There we go. After an exhaustive search failed to find her several days later, police received news that a little girl who matched Pauline's description had been found wandering in the town of Cherbourg, roughly 300 kilometers away from the Picard farm. Her mother identified her via photograph, and the police officer who found her was satisfied that it was the same girl. The mystery of how a toddler could find herself several hundred miles away from home was brushed aside in the wake of relief for her safe return. Well, sure. Good to see you, Eric. Thanks for coming in. About a month later, a neighboring farmer walking near the Picard farm stumbled upon something horrifying. The mutilated and decomposing body of a young girl next to her neatly folded clothes. He alerted the authorities, who arrived at the gruesome scene along with the town's inhabitants, among them Pauline's parents. Although the young girl's face could not be identified, the Picards made an unsettling realization, and the folded clothes were exactly what Pauline had been wearing on the day she disappeared. Whoa, that's creepy. That's very creepy. The area where the remains were found had been searched thoroughly when Pauline first disappeared, which suggests that someone had placed the body there fairly recently. The case became even more perplexing when the skull of an adult male was discovered next to Pauline's body, adding a second potential victim to the case. Oh, man. The police were baffled. If the body in the woods was Pauline, as the evidence suggested, then what happened to her? Who was the unidentified skull related to Pauline's murder? And who was the little girl from Cherbourg who had been living with the Picards? The answers to these questions were never discovered. The mysterious doppelganger was returned to Cherbourg. What happened to her next is lost to history. And the strange case... Oh, man. Damn. My eyes are just burning. And little Pauline Picard remains one of France's greatest unsolved mysteries. That is really creepy. Wow. I apologize. It's just like my eyes are just burning. Ugh. Ugh. I think they're better now. I'm sorry. Probably going to look like I've been hitting the bong here, but no such thing. Jeez. Okay. So, there's a list of 9 strange things that happened that remain unsolved. I don't know about the satanic ritual things. The case of the kid was kind of weird. Now, here's something that's, I don't know if there's anything to it at all. Was this little girl that was brought from this other town really their daughter? Didn't she say, hey, wait, I want to go home to my own mom. Why am I here? Wasn't there some protest about the fact that she was now being removed from wherever she was to be replaced with this Pauline Picard's body or life? I don't know. It's very strange. Or was it seriously like a doppelganger kind of thing? Now, I know that sounds odd, but in folklore, there's the tales of changelings and stuff that will take the place of kids. They allegedly remove the kids and take them to the world of the Fae, where they're raised in that world, and some metamorphosizing doppelganger would fill the role of the child. And I don't know. I mean, obviously that's not really a fit, but it is strange that they found a little girl. The parents said, yes, that's her, brought her home. Never said anything about the fact that, wait, this isn't my daughter, until they found the body of the daughter. Oh, what a twisted series of events. Oh, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know what to make of that, folks. But that is really, really strange. Huh. All right. Well, that was a good article, though. I think that was really decent. Hope you guys liked it. I'm just looking over the scene here to see if there's any more. Oh, no. No, okay. I'm going to close this tab then, because it looks like we got the best of it already. And I'm going to go to another story here that's more having to do with the UFOs and strangeness. But in this article, it's dealing more with the multidimensional type of visitor rather than the visitor from afar. Who knows? But it's from a site called alienstar.net. And this one's a new site to me. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but I've used one of their articles already, and it's decent. But I've never heard of this site before all of this. The headline on this one is very interesting, though. It says, FBI has declassified an interesting document talking about multidimensional beings that visited the Earth. Wow. So I don't know. I'm sure there's some place, some repository. You can probably go check this out for yourself, and they'll probably cover it. But there's a lot of strange stuff in the CIA files that were declassified. The whole hoard of CIA files, they were really researching some really strange stuff, very much in our vein of interest. Lots of strange stuff, and I don't know. It's peculiar. You wouldn't expect it, but I think that in maybe it's by military drive that everybody's looking for the secrets to be the to retain the most power on the global stage, and maybe there's esoteric things that they felt they could try to apply to whatever they were doing to give them an edge over all of the other countries that didn't want to be in second or third place. So, but let's take a look at this. This is, again, from alienstar.net. It's from June 27th, 2022, very new. And it's a 1947 memorandum was recently published demonstrating that despite their efforts to keep this information secret from the public, the U.S. government has always maintained contact with aliens and UFOs alike. Now, full disclosure, I've not read any of this prior to talking about it now. I've never looked at the source documents. I don't know if that the author's take is legitimately what is covered in these articles or these documents, but at any case, we'll just check it out. They've always known they existed. They just didn't want the rest of the world to know. The paper begins with the phrase flying saucer, which immediately demonstrates that the FBI was onto something from the start. So it's from 1947, July 8th, 1947. The flying rolls? The round robin? The round robin? Okay. So, I mean, it is shown here on the page. So it would be possible to read it. But let's read the article. And I'll put a link to this in the chats. If you guys want to check this out for yourself and look at the source document, you are certainly welcome to. Flying saucers. Maybe there's flying saucers. All right, let's paste this in here. Very good. Let me make sure it pasted in the other chat. Nope, I never hit send. There we go. So it's pasted in both the chats, TFR Live, as well as on YouTube. You can check out the source document, but it says, if that wasn't enough to pique your interest, the paper also discusses multidimensional entities and their visits to our planet on several times. That's correct. This is an official secret file that the FBI has held for years, and we've only lately gotten our hands on it. We strongly advise you to read the official FBI vault for yourself, but if you don't want to, you can always watch the video below. Regardless of the option that you take, you should have realized by now that the U.S. government, like most other governments, is not to be trusted. Well, I realize that government is kind of working in its own best interest most often, but I don't know. Never put your trust in these folks since they always have an agenda. They have confirmed the existence of multidimensional creatures multiple times in this official document, but you will never hear them say it aloud, and that is the fundamental issue we need to address in our culture. Yeah, well, let's see what it says, though. So the highlighted part, subpart 1, part of the disc carry crews, others are under remote control. Okay, I'm trying to read it. It's just old newsprint. Their mission is peaceful. The visitors contemplate settling on this plane. These visitors are human-like, but much larger in size. They are not... What? Excarnate Earth people. They are not excarnate Earth people, but come from their own worlds. They do not come from any planets, as we use this word, but from an etheric planet, which with what? I just can't read that word. It's like interpenetratos with our own, and is not perceptible to us. The bodies of the visitors and their craft also automatically what the hell? Naturalize okay. That on entering the vibratory rate of our I don't know. It's too hard to read. I would have to blow it up and really try to use Photoshop to fill in some blanks here, because the words are actually old typewritten words, and then it's photocopied on top of that. So it might be more clear to you guys out there looking at it, but at any rate, that is interesting. Again, it's from 1947, July 8th. So could there really be, could this be possibly the source of at least some of the lights in the sky and craft that people are seeing? Sure. And many people have theorized that these are not people from distant stars, but different dimensions. Some people suggest that the way they pop in and out of existence is them changing their vibrational rate, switching between planes maybe. And it's anybody's guess, but is it possible? I think it is. I don't know what it means, though. It's very intriguing. It is kind of concerning, again, that they were sitting on this knowledge, have been sitting on this knowledge, knowing that people are seeing things and yet calling them all kinds of names, like, just discarding any claims in visuals that people might have had as just ridiculous, delusional people that are obviously troubled. And it's really unfortunate, because they could have, probably, worked with these people having experiences and helped them to come to terms with it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's another, it's the X-Files, right? It's the X-Files. It's funny that the X-Files was supposed to be a fictional show, and it's more autobiographical than I could have imagined. Very strange. It's the X-Files, folks. But whatever the case is, there you have it. That's an interesting take. Again, the link is in the two chats, so if you want to check it out for yourself, please feel free to go ahead and do that. I don't know. I'll have to dig for a better copy of it, or at least a transcribed copy. Maybe somebody's already put it into a much more legible print that we can check out. I'm not going to cover this at all. Now, we're going to come back from break, and we're going to get into a couple things. We're probably going to discuss a couple articles from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and then we're also going to probably, whatever time we have left, we'll go through the BFRO, and you guys can tell me places you want to check out for sightings, and we'll check out a few of them. So I'll need the state and a county, but don't do it now. Wait till we come back and wait till we get to that part of the show. But we're at about 3 minutes away from the break, so I'm trying to think of what to cover until then. Well, any ideas? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry. It's weird. I just suddenly got like all sinusy, and my eyes started burning, but they feel fine now. Not sure if something just was in the air or what. Sometimes when spicy food is around, I'll actually get the vapors in my eyes, and I don't eat spicy food. I've got like the most tame palate in the world, or at least right among them. But man, something hit my eyes, and it was like tear gas. It was just burning. But I got better, as you can see. Let me pull this up and see what I got on the screen here. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to take another break here in just a minute and get back to this. One extra word regarding the podcast. I've been taking a little time away from the podcast just because we've been at it for 3 years straight. I needed a bit of a break. I needed to recalibrate. So if you're a podcast listener, be patient. The new episodes will be starting soon, but I just needed some time to get several things sorted out, and so I hope you understand. It will be back. I've got episodes all ready to go, but we're just not at the point of releasing them quite yet, so please be patient. They will be coming up in the near future. As well as, remember, we have a Teespring as well. So if you're not familiar with our Teespring, I think you should see a shelf below the video that shows some of it. It's not complete though. And I can pull it up on screen here. This is another great way to support us and also get some pretty awesome gear if you're so inclined to wear the sexiest logo in all of paranormal and cryptid shows. No offense, Wes. But that's our Teespring site, and you can see it right here. if you go over to teespring.com. The link is in the show description on YouTube, but it's paranormal-portal.creator-spring.com. And so I guess that's kind of a mouthful, but I guess I could copy the URL and put it in both of the chats as well, in case you wanted to visit the site and check out some of the phenomenal gear yourself. There's going to be new designs coming up too. A couple of them that I want to get done. I've had requests for a couple designs, so I'm going to whip those up and try to get them up and on the page as quickly as I can. But there's the bell, folks. But this is Teespring. Check it out. It's got all kinds of gear for your wearing pleasure. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Sometimes it's easy to be casual just about repetition and not get much better. How about the man who's been talking for 10 years?
gentlemen, boys and girls, we are at the tail end of our journey tonight. It's just gone really fast. It's been a good time, of course. I apologize that I thought I was much more well prepared for tonight, but, it turns out that I wasn't quite as well prepared as I thought. I mean, we still got material to go through and stuff, but I found myself just trying to sort through things a couple of times tonight. It's like, oh man, this is what I had in mind. We do have a call, so let's get to the call here and find out just what's going on. And this is area code 619. You're on the air. Hello? Hello? Did I not? Oh, I didn't unmute it. Area code 619. You're on the air.
Hi, Brent. It's Regular Girl.
Hey, Regular.
Yeah,
how
I
you
thought
doing?
I looked down. Yeah, I looked down. I went, no, I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, I got too many things in the way, and I couldn't see it. I was like, oh no, oops. Sorry about that, but welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great show as always. So as you know, I've been a listener for a long time now.
Yeah,
from the beginning. Of
way
this show.
back. Yep, 2016. You started with me.
So I want to mention that because of what I want to talk about tonight. Why I called, because I don't always call.
Yeah.
But I continue to listen. I continue to listen. Even though what I want to talk about is, the things that scare us, because that's what, I love the paranormal, always have, because I was frightened by these things from the time that I was a small child,
sure,
as many of us are, right? But there was, my life took a certain course, and so I would say even from the time, and I remember talking to you about this, although perhaps in a strange and crazily way when you first started the show, these kinds of things didn't really scare me anymore. Like, I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm not scared by Sasquatch. I'm not scared by aliens. Yet I really like the way you do your show. And so that's curious as well, I think. I've always found that curious. But what are the things that scare us and why? And so I want to call tonight because there's some things recently that I have found that are scary. And, the media or film plays an important part in all of our lives. We shouldn't take it lightly, the narratives that they tell us. There's some certain really big, iconic ones. But I've seen some things recently. One of them, and that scared me. That's unusual, Brent. Really is. So I want to just say a couple of things about that. And they're put out and I've been watching almost exclusively Netflix. I have found things on Netflix that have really engaged me for years now. But my sister saw something on Apple that she said, I'll pay for it for you to see this. And it's called Shining Girls. So Shining Girls is about a serial killer. But there's an element regarding time travel and the manipulation of reality involved in it. And then I ended up watching another one on there, and it's an Apple TV exclusive production as well called Severance. And Severance is about a company named Lumen who has finally thought of a way to do something to the brain where when you're at work, that part of you that's at work, that's all you remember. They call it a bifurcation or something. And then the part of you that's your outie, when you're not at work, that's all you remember. It's the part of you that's not at work. And it's done with the brain chip. So what you experience, but there's these scenes in there, Brent, that were terrifying to me that have to do with, I realized, like if you're someone who's ever done things that have to do with psychedelics or the alteration of realities, the manipulation of our realities. What I also realized in this really interesting thing called Shining Girls, if you can see it if you haven't, it's about a serial killer and time travel. It is like really terrifying in some portions. It's like Silence the Lambs on steroids. So okay. But what I realized also is that and I'm also watching Stranger Things season 4, and there are some things in there I'm noticing are scary. And I'm telling you, there are things that haven't scared me in years. And I'm noticing, so what are these elements? And all of them involve houses, I notice, and maps.
Oh.
So things that have to do with consciousness and reality and identity. These things that scare us, that have to do with the shifting of reality and our perception, and that will frighten us, the loss of control, right? Because that's how it's our reality being manipulated on other levels, which if you look like way back when, like when we were scared and terrified, or when I was scared and terrified of ghosts, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
That so terrifies us. I think I'm kind of asking. I'm not.
Sure.
I mean, I know. To some, maybe I sound like I think I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, I don't. I'm just kind of throwing this stuff out there. You know.
Yeah.
I felt like this is maybe a place where I can do that. I so appreciate it, Brent.
Oh, well, that's good. And I
don't think
I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of us are afraid of the strange world that we find ourselves in now, and it's not familiar, I don't think, to any of us. And it seems like we've jumped into a Mandela effect, and things have just gone upside down, literally, like a Stranger Things reference. But I think that it's the unknown is always hard to cope with because we just don't understand what's going on. And I think the reason that it's terrifying is the feelings of powerlessness, right? That those are the things that scare us the most, are the ones that we feel disempowered by, because there's things that are going on that are well beyond most of us in our day-to-day ambitions and activities. And so we seem to be dealing with a lot of redirections of the scope of our lives. And I'm not trying to get political at all. I very much stay away from that on the show because I welcome everybody's views and stuff, and I don't really sway either way. I'm pretty much right up the middle. But I think that anytime we're dealing with things that are so far out of our control, they become terrifying. And I'm also feeling trepidation because, being a parent, and to all the parents out there, I mean, one of the things that's for me being a parent is I want to see my kids, exist in a world and make a difference and be able to experience the joys in life as I've been able to in many ways. And I don't know what the world is becoming, and that's kind of terrifying. But I can appreciate what you're saying. There's a lot of things going on, and then the unknowns that. It's not just the ghosts and stuff. There seems to be unknowns that are much more intimidating than just the normal cryptozoology or ghosts or Fortean topics or whatever. There seems to be some weird unknowns going on that are very, very, very intimidating. I guess is the best I can say without, I don't want to get into specifics, obviously, but I think you know what I mean, and I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I guess I wanted to mention these things because I ended up doing some I don't know, I wouldn't really call it research, but I was reminded, that Aristotle, which he wrote after the fact of classic drama, but he's the one who talked about theater, which is film, is catharsis. So watching these things gives us time to then think about the solutions for it, to ponder, like the kind of things that you just mentioned about the solutions, for, okay, how do I then deal with this juxtaposition and the situation that I might find myself in of, eulogy, I'm in this situation, whatever that situation might be. Like there's this scene where the character in the Shining Girls, as her reality shifts in one in one where she places her key in her apartment door, but you as the audience too, you're for the first time experiencing her reality shifting, but you think she's going to walk into her apartment too, and it's her key, and she shifts, she opens the door, and it's like not her apartment, there's somebody else living in it, She opens up her wallet, and then her ID says no, now it's 5G. And it's shifting the world, but it's like it allows you, as when you watch film, it allows you time too to kind of think, okay, what do you do now? Because you are the character in that moment, right, of the scene. That's catharsis. That's what they call it. But I didn't realize that comes from that long ago, Brent. I thought that was some psychological term, that Carl Jung had invented. Like, no, that's Aristotle. Catharsis.
That's crazy.
Which it is crazy, right? And you should actually what came before that is crazier. The early Greek drama stuff.
Yeah.
I'll show everybody how stupid I am if I talk any further about it. So I'm just going to stop there.
No, it's perfectly fine. No, I think you're right. I think there's certainly a lot of weirdness going on in our real world. You don't even need the media now to feel like everything, what's back is front, what's up is down, what's left is right. It's just, and not meaning politically. I just mean that, we seem to be in a world of opposites in a lot of ways.
But actually, I think I just said something without even realizing it. The impact of film on the masses, on us, regarding our fears has been huge, right?
Sure.
We've been so manipulated by film.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
by a lot of media, unfortunately, and there's those that claim that was the plan all along. With when the TV first came out, people were like, people are not going to sit around and look at a box for hours. Are you guys crazy? And then they turned out to be very very wrong prophetically. That people do sit around and stare at boxes. I stare at little boxes all day. So unfortunately, we're exposed constantly to this barrage of information, whether that's good information or bad. It's information, and it does tend to seep into your psyche. And, it takes a very diligent mind to try to keep, focused on your truth, especially now. We're just being inundated with things. And I just hope for the best. I definitely hope for the best.
Yeah.
But it's great to hear from you. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks. There is this thing with even when you said boxes, there's like a history that spiritualists used, like little boxes. They used cabinets.
Oh, sure.
Remember I said there's this thing with there must be some necessity for a container. Like in all of these films, I'm starting to notice there's a house. There's houses involved.
Sure.
In these in the time travel thing, like the it's as though if there's portals, then it's as though the house springs on top of a portal sometimes.
Oh, sure. Right? Very cool and very good insights. Thank you for sharing those. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And it's wonderful to hear your voice again. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Well, good night.
Good night.
All right. You as well.
That's cool. I haven't heard from Regula for a long time. She's been around since I first turned on the show, turned on the power. She was in the audience. She's been with us for a long time, and it's great. I think that's one of the coolest things is that people that have been with the show that long are still here. That makes me feel good. I can't rest on that laurel, but it still does feel nice that, I'm still not irritating the hell out of people after all this time. Maybe, not exclusively. I'm sure some people are irritated with me from time to time, but that's the nature of things. All right, so we got some things to get through before we run out of time. We got about 11 minutes left of the show. So I wanted to get to Sasquatch Chronicles here and go through an article here that's from June 27th. And this takes place apparently in the Davy Crockett National Forest. And it's called A Wild Man on My Property. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Sasquatch Chronicles is a great show, obviously, but it's also a great site. So check out SasquatchChronicles.com. Check out the blog. Check out all the postings that people are doing and Wes does. It's just a ton of information over there every day. So lots to consume. So June 27th, A Wild Man on My Property. A listener writes, in March 2020, I signed the papers on a house in East Texas and moved out there from San Antonio. The house sits on 18 acres in the woods that back up to the Davy Crockett National Forest, which is a very wild area with some interesting history. There's no fence between the National Forest and my land. The house was in bad shape when I bought it, so I spent the pandemic fixing it up and getting the grounds in order. On one night in late September 2020, I was putting together my new couch after finally finishing the hardwood living in my living room. I was alone in the house with my dog and had a few maker's marks on the rocks, so I decided I was going to venture out into my 4-acre pasture at around 11 p.m. Up until that point, I had been a little reluctant to go out there at night because the pasture grass was chest high, and the guy who mowed my lawn had just mowed one little trail out into the woods through the tall pasture grass. So it had a Signs/Mel Gibson movie vibe, and it creeped me out. But that night, with a little liquid courage, I walked out into the pasture in the pitch dark with my dog. I felt really good about facing my fears until all of a sudden my dog sniffed towards the tall grass and woods, cowered behind my legs, crying, and sprinted about 150 yards to the back door of my house and scratched to get in. Please understand that my dog is usually annoyingly protective of me. I've seen her face off against huge male dogs to try to protect me, and it's honestly a little nerve-wracking because she's not that big. So when she sprinted back to the house without me, I turned and ran too. The whole time thinking I was about to get picked off by something in the tall grass. I didn't even have a landline phone at the time and no cell service or Wi-Fi, so I kept thinking I was just going to disappear out there and never be heard from again. Well, I made it back to the house and locked the door behind me. I was kind of embarrassed and chalked the whole thing up to being a spooked out city slicker. In October 2020, my brother and I were walking out to the woods one night and saw a red glowing light in the woods off of my pasture. Near the red light, we saw a huge shadowy figure walking along the tree line. My brother got really spooked and yelled that he was running back to the house to get his gun. Well, I stayed out in the pasture and tried to talk to the figure because I thought it was a local hunters coming onto my land and I didn't want anything escalating. So I just yelled at the figure that it was all right, and if he was tracking a deer onto my property, feel free to continue on. By the time my brother came back, the shadow figure was gone. A few months later, in late December 2020, during the week between Christmas and New Year, I was out in my newly mowed pasture turning on the fairy lights I hung in the trees out there. I had people coming out to camp on my land that night, so I was preparing the area for them. And all of a sudden, I get this unmistakable feeling that I was being watched, and turned around to the tree line on the edge of the pasture where I saw a 7 to 8 foot hairy figure walking on 2 feet toward the National Forest. I had an immediate urge to climb the tree next to me and started looking around for my dog, who unsurprisingly was scratching at the back door. That dog is just gone. Within 3 seconds of me turning around, the thing looked towards me and took off running towards the forest. I heard it crashing through the tree branches the whole way. I even heard it jump the creek about 6 feet wide and clearly land on 2 really heavy feet on the other side. After that, it was gone. Since then, a few of my campers have complained about my neighbors walking around their tents at night. I only have one elderly neighbor, and he would never come on my land. I've also had 3 more situations since then where I felt like I was being watched and my dog ran away. And one time, after getting creeped out and running home, I found weird-looking droppings on the trail the next morning, almost like something was taunting me. I honestly don't know if what I saw was a Sasquatch, Dogman, or what, because it was a little obscured by the tree line, but it was definitely 7 to 8 feet tall, hairy, and walking on 2 feet, and it sounded heavy. I got so creeped out by the situation last fall that I bought a house in San Antonio and moved back, closing up the forest house for the winter. I asked my neighbor if he'd ever seen anything like this before, and he told me that it is just the hairy man, and he always has been around. My neighbor is a descendant of the family who bought all of the land on my road back in the early 1800s, and the family is very insular. Everyone on my road has the same last name except me. I guess they've accepted this hairy man as part of their lives. It might also be interesting to note that there was a long history of Native American tribes on the land I live in now. My neighbor still finds arrowheads around. That's really crazy. Wow. It doesn't seem like it's aggressive in any way, other than his dog's completely freaked out and bolting at the drop of a hat. But I think dogs are probably on the menu, at least sometimes, and they don't last long. But that's got to be unnerving. Again, being in the woods is one thing. Being in the woods at night is a whole nother one. And it's one of the things I think about when I watch like Expedition Bigfoot with like Russ Accord, and he's out there with a camera guy, and I guess he's not alone, but I think of Les Stroud then on the other hand, and he's like all out there all by himself in some of the most unforgiving terrain everywhere, and it's just him and his camcorders. It's just you got to tip your hat to these guys that go out there and run through the forest, and probably a few of you out there listening. You go out into the dead of night forests and poke around and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if I got it in me or not, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly curious enough to want to go see, but I'm also pragmatic enough to know that I'm not young anymore, and I'm sure as hell not agile and limber, and if something went sideways, I'd just probably have to curl up in the fetal position and hope for the best. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole different world. If you're in a city and you're listening to me, you really can't understand what the dark of night in a forest feels like, but it's absolutely intimidating. It's so powerful, and you feel like you're so weak. It's just incredible. But that's about the show that I got for you guys tonight. You'll have to let me know if you're one of those people that go out and poke around in the dark at night in the forests. How do you do it, man? How do you do it? You've got some some solid steel spine or backbone or whatever, because, man, I don't know. I get it. I get pretty intimidated by it, and it's not that I'm afraid of the dark and that I'm even afraid that a Sasquatch is going to come and grab me. It's just, it's the unknown. I guess that's kind of the recap from Regula's call. It's the unknowns that are tough to deal with. What are you going to run into? We cover a lot of ground on this show, and we've talked about a lot of different things that potentially exist out in the wild places. And I think the Bigfoot's the least of your worries, to be honest with you. There's other things out there that would be much more horrible and probably a lot less caring. I don't think that, I'm not meaning to imply that Bigfoot isn't dangerous, or Sasquatch, or whatever you want to call it. It certainly is incredibly dangerous. It's definitely an alpha predator of alphas. He's an alpha of alphas, all of them. But I think that they don't want problems. I think they avoid us. They see we're there and they just kind of move around. Or if they can't move out of an area, they let us know they're there, and then we move out. But 90% of the time or better, they're very peaceful kind of confrontations. They're just, hey, we're here. You don't belong here. I'm going to throw some pine cones or small pebbles in your area, and then I'm going to shadow you as you leave our area. It's not aggressive. It's just assertive. But, when you think of like dogmen and stuff, God, who knows? You're rolling the dice. They could just as soon kill you as look at you. I mean, something's taken all those people that David Paulides talks about. Something has taken those people. And I don't pretend to know what it is, but I have a feeling it's probably pretty dark and horrible, whatever it is. So just some food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. But that's going to wrap up the journey for tonight. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here on the portal. Special thanks to Wes Germer. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for letting us do the game show with your promo. We'll continue to do stuff like that on the show, ladies and gentlemen, as Wes creates new things or whatever. He's willing to participate. He's willing to put some of his own gear on the line. So I'm just saying, it's worth a shot. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. Just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Censorship and regulation has become